Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come on briefly and share something that I believe is currently taking place as we speak. It is a prediction that I put out. I'll tell you when because I have it pulled up on my phone already. I uploaded it on November the 7th, 2025. I don't know if you can see that or not. Here. Yeah, I uploaded this. It's about an epidemic. I didn't call it a pandemic in the video, which is a good thing, but I did say that this could be a epidemic, the start of something, and I felt like it'd be quarantined pretty quickly, but it wouldn't be your typical flu, okay? And I said that this flu-looking or virus, they may call it the bacteria, but it's actually not bacteria related. It's viral. Would come out in December, and people would start getting it around the end of December, and then come January, maybe the FDC or someone speaks on it, or we hear about it in the news, how these rare, strange flu cases are happening. My fiance currently has it, and yeah, he has that. And he told me it was very similar to C19, but not as bad. And I think quite a few people have it, and we're going to learn about it more in January. So listen to this really quick. 2020 with that retrograde kind of coming in around the mid part of December of 2025. And they're going to hang out till about March of 2026. So what I believe, and if I'm correlating it with what I'm channeling and with the astrology, it's very possible that this new respiratory infection, we'll call it respiratory because it does seem to affect the nose, the passageway. It's not going to wipe off like we saw with C19. I don't want to get into too much because YouTube is real funny about C19. It's not going to be as bad. It's going to be quarantined and maintained quickly, but it's very similar. And I was getting that it comes from a warm place, from ports. So it's going to be spread through transporting items and goods and things like that. Could be the Indian Ocean or even somewhere in the Mediterranean. It's going to be a warm place in the United States and the UK, other places around the world as well. Okay, so this is what I spoke on November the 7th, and I was getting it very clearly. It's a cross between the flu and similar to symptoms of C19, but not as devastating because we know C19 was. It was just, horrible. So this is similar, but not as bad. However, it can take people for a loop. It could put you in the hospital if you have lung problems. Not to fear you, but just saying it could. And I do see it being quarantined, and I do see some people losing their lives from this, but not like we saw with C19. Not like we saw with C19. I believe that this virus, they call it the flu, but it's going to be spoke on in January on how unique it is because it isn't like your typical flu. People seem to sweat more. It's almost like it attacks the sweat glands, per se, which is good if you can sweat it out, right? That's a good thing. But it attacks the glands as well, making you sweat. And maybe that's good because you can release the illness quicker, release it out of your body. But I don't know. I just wanted to come on, and I was going to talk about 2026 and all that, but I'm having a hard time pulling up 2026 in my mind. I did some for the UK, and that was hard. It feels more along the lines of channeled messages, not necessarily where I'm supposed to correlate a timeline or a calendar timeline for world events for 2026. Not like in the past when I could get them and try to itemize each category. I'm not getting things like that this year. It's very different, and I'm being told that it is going to happen this way for the next 3 to 4 years, maybe up to 2030, where things, for me at least, are going to come in that way. There's a reason for it. It has a lot to do with divine timing and the timelines for 2026. Because 2026 is not a continuation year. It's not a continuation for 2026. It is rather a new era begins by the corrections. If I'm getting it correctly, is how I was interpreting it. It's a reset year. That's what this is, which is most likely why I am not able to get everything through clarity at one time to make a video. Especially for the United States, it's hard. Sometimes it feels like the world as a collective crosses a line that is unable to uncross. And it has to happen this way, not just for the US, but around the world as a whole. Old systems will not collapse all at once. They won't. It won't happen that way. But rather they lose credibility slowly. And the people around the world, especially in the States, the UK, Europe, instead of believing the lies they're being told or being fed, they're not going to do that anymore. Many people are going to say, you know, I'm full. I don't want any more of this garbage. It's not healthy, right? They don't want it no more. For me, 2026 marks a cycle of identity, more for like nations, movements, and individuals like you and I. It's not just about governments. It's about you and I too. It's our reset. If there's something that you want to accomplish that you did not get to accomplish in 2025, you better damn well be working on it now. Or have a plan in motion in 2026, or you're going to be stuck in this energy. I hate to tell you, I'm being honest. Okay? Put your plan in motion. Don't get left behind. Meanwhile, new languages appear. Okay? New symbols arise. New enemies. New heroes. And this is when people are going to say, here in the United States, Europe, UK, 2026 feels different. Well, yeah, it does. Why? Don't ask why. Because there's no going back. So it doesn't do any good if you do ask. Because there's no going back to change anything. Don't ask why. Accept it. Embrace it. It's happening. And you can't change it. Because this year, my friend, is a start of a new era. Not a one-year event, which is why I believe I'm not able to pick up multiple world predictions because of that fact right there. And if that's the case, then I'm not going to push for it. Something else that we need to keep in mind is war of reality. Because in 2026, the biggest war is not bombs in the air, as you're being told, fear baiting. That's not what you need to worry about. It's not that kind of war. It is who controls the truth. That is your bomb, your truth bomb, your fuck bombs. Not bombs with real explosives. The bombs from here. Free speech, misinformation, and narrative control become the central global conflict, especially over in the UK. I can't express this enough. And Europe. And we saw that here in the United States for some time, but it's really going to get bad over in our Western friend nations because of who's in power and who's trying to gain power and who's trying to not lose it. And that's why this is happening. Governments tighten rules, platforms silence voices. But then that's when the pushback explodes. Court cases, leaks, all kinds of leaks. Whistleblowers, especially right here in the United States, whistleblowers, multiple things are going to come out about UFOs, about the vaccine, about the actual virus from back in 2020, about who's in power now, about who was in power, going back from number 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46 especially, and his family and his son, and then back to 47. Epstein files. Oh my God. Don't get me started on the Epstein files. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. And mass public resistance will force sudden reversals from what I'm seeing. So again, I can't see one area having a world prediction here, 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 here. I get everything as a collective. That's what I'm getting, especially for Europe, UK, and the United States. And that includes Australia and other countries I may not mention. It's around the freaking world. And this year, Keir Starmer, Merz, Stoltz, Boris Johnson, 44, 5, 6, 7. This year will expose who is trying to control the narrative and who controlled the narrative prior, manipulating information, and why it was done. Ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a lot of truth fuck bombs in 2026. I hope you're ready for it. That's why I can't predict one certain thing for 2026. I can't. It's impossible for me. I can't speak for other people, but for me, this is what I'm seeing, what I'm telling you right now. Didn't mean to go from the virus to this, but it's important. I don't want to lose my concentration here. But 2026, what a trip it will be. Okay. By the end of 2026, the communities around the world, I don't want to point just here in the United States, but all over, are not going to trust official explanations. We're not going to trust it the way we once did, the way we are still kind of doing it now, but we're starting to become cautious already. Have y'all seen what's already happened in 2026? I mean, Maduro is taken with his wife. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not going to put my precision on this topic. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Now let's talk about pressure without an actual legitimate explosion, but rather in one's head, not outside in the sky, like they want you to believe again. World War III is coming. No, it's not within countries fighting necessarily, or two leaders going at it with bombs, with smoke bombs and real weapons. It's within the people themselves, within their mind. We're going to see things we've never seen before, I'll tell you that. Hear things we've never heard before. People being caught out on their shit. But it's not going to be catastrophic at the end of the day. Because all these things have to happen. They have to be unveiled in order to move forward for something better. Oh, geez. You can't keep what's buried there forever. It has to resurface. It has to surface and be talked about in order to be cleansed away for the new to be put there. I know. I'm not trying to preach. 2026 is just different. Yes, there will be constant pressure. There's going to be issues with healthcare, big time issues with healthcare, especially here in the United States. to the point where it's very concerning for me as a citizen who relies on my health insurance. The premiums are going to go up probably more than once. Some people are not going to be able to afford their health care. And we're going to see people, especially elderly, suffer from this. And middle class suffer from this the most. Will it get better? Of course it will. But we have to deal with it head on. This is something that has to be dealt with head on. Excuse me. I had to pause and sneeze. Let's talk about 5 topics that are going to be crucial in 2026. Okay? I have down security incidents, infrastructure stress, transportation issues, energy strain, and border tension. These are going to be things that we hear a lot of in 2026. Okay? Excuse me. I feel like the world is being stress tested. And it's happening repeatedly over and over again. Because nothing is going to break all at once. It's going to be slow little dips. Dip, dip. Not, let's just get it over with. No, we have to kind of suffer through it. But things are going to be pushed to the limits. And that's where we talk about explosions and bombs. It's more within one's reality. It's not necessarily a war going on. Even though a war around the world is very probable, especially in the Middle East. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. But it's probable. Very probable that something could happen with Iran and the United States and Israel. And possibly, I talked about Syria, and then there's Lebanon as well. Those areas. Later on, China, Taiwan, but that's later on. But the pressures that are going to happen don't just affect us, of course. They affect our local economy, our governments, Europe, UK, United States. Because whatever affects the United States affects Europe. Once the weakness is revealed here in the United States, it spreads into these other countries. Now, what I was getting was a time frame from spring until summer, late summer of 2026. AI technology will cross the line. It will cross the line to where the governments, certain people, certain politicians, creators are going to speak out about it. It's like, whoa, Jimmy, no. We don't want these things running around here controlling us. We want AI and the little robots and whatever else they are to help. But this is going to become a power struggle in some places, and that's what I was getting with AI. So, chill out. Because the government's like, if we don't control this now, we lose power, or they control us. Some governments want that, actually, but there are a few that don't. So, what this means with AI is that there's going to be issues in order to regulate or license AI products. Is what I was getting there. Or robots, whatever. Justified, is it safe or not? Those type of things, if that makes any sense. It didn't make much to me, but when I saw the control, this power struggle between robots and humans, summer of 26 also brings reorganization of certain political figures, or early summer. It's a shakeup in different governments. Leadership changes will start to accelerate. I don't want to say where, because I don't want to get called out, because I don't know really where, but definitely the West is part of that. People resigning, reshuffling the cabinets, coalitions that form very quickly, and they fall apart just as fast as they were created, mind you. Markets will swing, but not from collapse necessarily, but rather from uncertainty and realignment. Then we have global blocks that are going to quietly reorganize in late 2026. I put a separate video about that a few months ago on who would go where strongly. That was more prophetic. I felt like it was prophetic. That's still happening. As we see some countries drift away from alliances, permanently, some temporary, while others double down on protection and loyalty. Most definitely, I see that, especially in the East. End of 2026 is when countries start to resort themselves into different categories. Or you could say new camps, new alliances, possibly. And in some cases, it will not be publicly even announced in 2026. Probably in 2027, you may know about it. And my final message for 2026. 2026 is not about fear. It's about clarity. The illusion cracks, the mask slips, the future chooses over direction. People who trust their intuition will thrive. You're good. People clinging to the old story will struggle, and you'll struggle hard. This is the year the world remembers who it really is. So like I said, if you have something you want to accomplish that you've been stumbling on, do it now. All right, guys. Thank you for listening.